Okay, so this is my magnet ear concept, which is mainly based off of how a dog ear goes from the upwards position to this more back position. If you have a look, when you go back, the ear actually faces out to the side. That's important because the concept I've developed doesn't face to the side, it faces more directly down, but I think it still looks sort of like aesthetically cool. So this is the system. It looks a little bit silly right now, so I'll explain what each of these components are. This is where the magnets go in the part that's secured to the head. So this part goes on the head. The next part is this cap. Now this is a different color cap with a screw on it. This is an older cap that doesn't have a hole for the screw. So this basically just sits on top of the cap, also located on the head, to stop the magnets flopping out. That means you don't have to glue them in. It means you can replace the magnets very easily. And it also means you've got a surface area that actually gives you mechanical advantages in something is holding onto this. So on top of the strength of the magnets, you actually have quite a lot of surface area from this dome shape. Now, this is the other part of the dome. This dome sits on top of this cap. So this is the ear. So I've made a little makeshift ear out of paper to demonstrate what the shape sort of does. How you'd install this. Both these newer systems have little holes for bolts. They've just been super glued into these pre-made holes. So these, you put a piece of foam in between this and then screw these in. I might make a little plate for these to curve into the head a little bit nicer, but washers should do for an easier install or a smaller install. So this, again, this is a fully assembled unit that you'd put on the head, and how you'd install this is one is a left and the other is a right. They're identical, but you'd need to know which way around they are, because the magnets, of course, need to be on one way on one side of the head, but they need to be facing the other way on the other side of the head. If they both face the same way, they wouldn't switch around. So one has to be facing. You can see this strip of magnets along here. I'll draw on them later on, but you can see the strip of magnets here. It's facing along here. Has to be facing here outwards. So it's facing to the camera right at the moment. And you turn it around, it's facing from camera right to camera left. That big white overexposed bit. So that's how you'd mount these to the head. So this Jelly Belly device is the temporary head for now. So when wearing the magnets in their standard position, you just have these happy sort of ears. They're sort of just, you know, your standard upwards facing ears. When you want to switch them over, you take the right ear, you move it to the left, and the left ear, you move it to the right. And you do this by switching the orientation and bringing it over here. So I'll see if I can do that with a little bit better hand movement. So pretty much it goes 180 degrees onto the other side. So it's 180 degrees, but then on the other side. So that's how you can get this sort of backwards facing, you know, angry speed ears in these two orientations. There might be more with different shapes of ears, but this is the sort of easiest way to wrap my head around it. And I think this would be reasonably easy to do. Again, because the magnets are in two different orientations, you've got your positive polarities on the outside and your negative polarity on the inside. They will lock to one of four orientations. They won't actually sit in between there. So it's very easy to line up. They're very strong, so I don't think anyone will be able to knock them out of your head very easily. And as long as we secure it nicely on the other side, I don't see them coming out of the head very easily either. And because they're 3D printed, any of the parts are easily replaceable if they get lost or damaged.